everybody, welcome back. My cover. Let's clarify interest rate, Fed raising rate, and what's the impact on Bitcoin. And I think most people get it the opposite. They got it wrong. Because most analysts out there on YouTube and so many places, they think if the Fed raises rate, Bitcoin will not do as well if they cut rate. So the assumption is if the Fed lower rate or cut rate, Bitcoin will go up exponentially. But I think it's the opposite. Because most those people, they think Bitcoin is going after the dollar or something. Bitcoin is not in competition against the dollar. Bitcoin is in competition against real estate, real property, right? The stock market. And like those are the things Bitcoin are in competition to. Like, ETF market, the bond market. Those are the things Bitcoin are, Bitcoin is competing against. If the Fed raises rate, it collapses all of those things. It collapses the fiat system, basically. Not necessarily the dollar. The dollar will survive for now, but in the intermediate future, what it collapses, it's gonna collapse the bond market, and it's gonna collapse the real estate market and the stock market. And at that point, most people who have money on, so let's say, those markets, those people, they're gonna take their money and put it into Bitcoin. Here's the thing: money doesn't just fly, or money doesn't disappear. Money move around, right? The money will just move around. If the stock market crash, Bitcoin will pump. Here's the reason, and this is why I see people compare, saying, "Oh, Bitcoin is correlated to the stock market or something." No, Bitcoin is not correlated to anything. It's living on its own universe. So, again, if the stock market crashes, right, it's another liquidity for Bitcoin, right? The liquidity come out of the stock market and it goes to Bitcoin. If real estate crashes, money come from real estate goes to Bitcoin. And this is the thing most people are not thinking. Like when BlackRock buys Bitcoin on the ETF, so Bitcoin is taking money away from real estate, right? So instead of BlackRock buying single family home to compete with you in the market, so what BlackRock is doing is taking that money away from real estate to go put it into Bitcoin, because the clients see much more return in Bitcoin. And if you really think about it, it's silly to put investment in real estate, something that's devalued over time. If you're thinking about future, you can't really plan based on house that the real value, right? The real value of a house goes down. The only reason why I see it goes up is because the currency is collapsing. Anyways, with the Fed raises rate, Bitcoin go up faster because all of those markets collapse faster. The banks collapse faster. That's a good thing for Bitcoin, because now I'm not saying I want the bank to collapse. I'm saying this is what Bitcoin is built for, to protect you against the collateral damage of the bank collapse. We already know most of the banks are already insolvent, right? It's a scam out there. So, anyways, this is what I wanted to say. And I don't want to keep it too long, guys. So yeah, just you know, like, be careful who you're listening to. Like, when interest rate, right? If the interest rate goes up, right, to the normal interest rate, right now the Fed cannot afford to raise interest rate to the normal interest rate, right? Because they're afraid to collapse the system, and they cannot afford that. Because the bond market, the Fed cannot afford to pay those interests on their debt. They have 34 trillion debt, right? And I think they're gonna go to 40 trillion in the next 4 to 5 years. So how they pay that interest in those debt, right? Too much, too expensive for them. That's why they want to keep interest rate low to steal as much as they can from you. Anyways, guys, this was my cover. I'm gonna leave it there. I'll see you again in the next talk.